Hi, it's Mike. I'm replying to the response to my video about the winter fuel allowance. Can't argue with most of what you've put up there. However, I do think that it's relevant that there are, particularly in the more affluent areas of the country, literally millions of pensioners who are A, fit and well, and B, really quite affluent. And is it right that if they're affluent enough and they don't need the money, that they should automatically have it? I would suggest that's questionable. There may well be 25,000 people who may die because of the winter fuel problem, but for disabled people below retirement age who don't even get the £200 winter fuel allowance, and whose benefits keep falling way behind the increase in cost of living, heating is equally, if not more important to them. If you have mobility problems and you can't get up and walk around to stimulate your circulation, you get colder and colder. Now, I know there are a lot of elderly people who are in that situation, but there are a lot of elderly people who are perfectly able. I live in an area where there are a number of octogenarians who are charging about the place, and I, at the age of 44, can't get out of my wheelchair, which is not their fault, I grant you, but nevertheless, we're talking about need here. Is it right that it should just be an age qualification thing? Disability living allowance and incapacity benefits have not risen in conjunction with the cost of living, and indeed in the southeast, where it's much more expensive to live, the disability benefits are way behind the cost of living, and continue to get behind the cost of living. I mean, we're supposed to be particularly privileged in December because we get a £10 winter bonus, Christmas bonus. It's been £10, certainly as long as I've been on benefit, which is 10 years. And what does £10 buy you? Well, if you're in the southeast, I can tell you it buys you 4.5 pints of beer, 4 litres of petrol, bugger all really. And with the cost of everything, and the fact that if you want to be a functioning member socially of the community and you're disabled, you still have to be involved in the present buying and the social Christmas scene if you possibly can, and for your mental health as well as anything else. £10 is just derisory. It's an insult, really. It's well, I've just donated mine to children in need. But there are many pressure groups for pensioners, and it's not wrong that there are, but nevertheless it would be very interesting to know how many disabled people below the age of retirement who have mobility problems will die due to cold this winter. Certainly many of us have to forego normal social interaction in order to keep the money to save for our heating. It's just as wrong for that to happen as it is for elderly people, and yet you hear very, very little about it. I was a Liberal Democrat member, in fact, until I left earlier in the year. There are a couple of major policy issues that I don't agree with, and you know, the leadership needs to settle down before I'll have anything to do with them again. Though they may get my vote because there's nobody else worth voting for. Anyway, got to remember, and it would be good to find out how many disabled people below retirement age who don't receive the winter fuel payment will die this winter. Can't say none because there aren't any figures published as far as I'm aware. Very useful that. Anyway, think on. And all those pensioners that are out there, many of whom will be silver surfers, who can afford to forego their winter fuel payment, shouldn't just agree. They should donate it to somewhere where it will help, i.e. help the aged, or a disability charity through Scope. The Stroke Association, for instance. Anyway, that's enough for now. But there are many fewer voices for disabled people than there are for the elderly. I wish you'd bear that in mind. Thank you.